is Rivers Grimes. I'm a senior at East Hamilton High School, and I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself.
My name is Wayne Brown. I've been here in Chattanooga since 2009. I am a retired United States Air Force Chief Master Sergeant. And now that I'm here, I've worked with the city, I've worked with several nonprofit organizations. The one that I'm working with now mostly is called Impact One, where we help young men and young women get back on track after they've had a bump in the road in life.
Okay, that's great. So, what is Bridging the Gap?
Bridging the Gap is a social enterprise. It's something that I started back in 2010, where I wanted to be able to give back. What I wanted to do, though, also with that is to help the people that I'm training and help the communities that I live in. And one way to do that is the monies that we bring in, a portion of that goes back into the community. For instance, in times like these where you have different organizations that may need money for food or different things that they're giving to the community, I'm able to do that through Bridging the Gap.
Absolutely. Can you tell us about your military life and how you got there?
Well, I got there. I don't know if I need to tell you about that. I got there because I didn't want to go to college. And I wasn't a bad student. Actually, when I was in high school, we had the SAT test, SAT, and during that time, I scored in the top 10% of the nation. So it's not that I couldn't do the work. I just wasn't mature enough. I knew that much about myself, that I wasn't mature. I wasn't ready to go to college.
How did you get to where you are today after your military life?
It started long before my military life. I grew up in a community and in a family where I had a lot of men around me. I had uncles, mentors, educators. I had a lot of people around me to help me and to mold me. And one of the things that they always instilled in me was to pay it forward. So what I did was I went back to school. I actually did go back to college, and I finished here at UTC, and I have a degree in nonprofit management. And what I wanted to do with that is to get in the nonprofit world, and I wanted to make sure to be able to give back, but to give back with some understanding of how nonprofits work. And so that's what got me started, is wanting to give back. Just as people had poured into me, I wanted to be able to pour into others.
That's interesting. I saw that you worked with Unified Ed once before. How's your experience with Unified Ed?
Oh, wow. That was my experience at Unified Ed was a blast, because I wanted to get involved, but I realized very quickly that I really needed to get educated. I really did need to get educated in policy and how the system actually works. It's one thing to have a zeal to do some great things in the community. It's another thing to have the knowledge to do that. And that was one of the things that Unified Ed really helped me to grow as far as a community member and a community activist, because they helped me to get educated about policy. How does education work at the local level? What does it mean at the state level? And how do federal dollars affect what we do here locally? And that was the biggest thing that I got out of being a part of Unified Ed in the beginning, was just getting that knowledge and getting that understanding and actually being able to help some things get done.
Absolutely. So with you being a grandparent, what have you seen your granddaughters be affected most by during this quarantine?
It's interesting because with this quarantine, they are being affected because they can't physically see their friends, but they already were seeing their friends and talking with their friend through their phone or through another platform. So they were already doing that. They don't get the one-on-one with the teacher. However, they can use their technology like they've been doing and talking to their teachers, talking to someone who can help them understand what's going on. So they haven't been affected I think like we adults, I put it that way. But they are really adjusting quite well with what's going on.
That's great. That's good to hear. What advice do you have for students during this difficult time?
Be able to adjust to changing times, because COVID-19, yes, is a crisis, but in your lifetime, it probably won't be the last. So learn from this crisis, learn how to adapt, learn how to adjust, learn how to be flexible, and also learn that the way you do things now is not set in stone, that things are going to change. What's cutting edge now won't be cutting edge tomorrow, and be flexible, and that will help you deal with the different crises that are ahead.
Absolutely. What are the tasks of a leadership role other than leading?
Oh, well, the task of the leadership role other than leading, again, being educating myself, being flexible, being open to new ideas. Now that one is a big one, and sometimes it can be tough because at my age, I've seen a lot, and so sometimes I get stuck in what I've seen versus what is possible. You know, what was impossible at one time is now possible, and that's one of those leadership things that I have to do. I have to constantly do, and I have to constantly remind sometimes when I'm in meetings that, hey guys, I know this worked last time, but it may not work this time. So hey, how can we do that? So helping others to see the other side, listening. Oh my goodness, that is a big one. If you're going to be a leader, listen. Because what I think is the problem is usually the perceived problem. But when I listen, I find out what the actual problem is.
Okay, that was great. That's all the questions that I have for you. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes. So with this, and just like I said, I need to listen. I know what I see my granddaughter's going through. So what has been an adjustment that you've had to make? Well, what are the things that are happening with you with this COVID-19?
Well, with being a senior, it's kind of been really hard not knowing when my graduation will be, not experiencing the last semester of my high school years, not having a prom. It's just been a real adjustment just because I'm losing those things that are supposed to be memories. But I have had to adjust, and I have had to kind of get myself up and make sure I'm doing something that is productive, because I've found myself kind of wanting to lay in the bed, wanting to be alone, but I can't do that because then I'll be in a slump. So really pushing myself has been the big task for me.
Okay, well, continue to do that. Like I said, understand this, that yes, it's a big thing that you're going through right now, and you won't have the memories that some other people talk about, but let me let you in on a secret. When you get to that 10-year class reunion, you're gonna realize that you're gonna have way more things to talk about because of things that you're gonna be doing than what happened in 2020. Now that was, it was big, but all those great things that you were going to be doing from now on, that this is really getting you ready for. So stay encouraged.
Thank you. If that's all the questions that you have, that's all we have for today.